What is going on? I mean, this long break, unplanned. I read the headlines. I don't read too much news, but I see the F1 headlines. Something about they're all evading their taxes in Italy. Italy coming at them for taxes. There's somebody in F1, one driver at least, with some soccer players, all allegedly linked to some high-priced escort service. I'm like, hey, don't you tell me old school F1 is gone. That's old school F1 right there. Tax evasion, the high-priced escorts. I mean, if Ferrari slaps a Marlboro sponsor livery on that car, I mean, we've gone back to the future. All right, son, you ready to go?
Ready to go.
Hello, welcome to Hard Compound, American take on Formula One. No race this weekend. There hasn't been a race in a while, or that'll happen. So I think, son, we make this episode, because we don't want to go too long without an episode. This one, it's the end of F1 as we know it. I think I feel fine. Okay?
Okay.
It's not the end of F1, the sport. Sport's bigger, more popular than ever, more money than ever. But so much that we think about F1, those of us who've been fans for a long time, it's gone away or going away for good or bad. So I think that's what we should talk about, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I'll go first. A few years ago, we thought, I did, there could be a live golf-like takeover Formula One. Remember? Saudi Arabia sitting on $1 trillion, didn't know what to do with it. So they're going, we'll buy golf. That has not turned out as well as we expected. They threw $1 billion at people, but golf is more popular than ever, but not live. And I think we might be seeing the end of the Middle East in Formula One. At least the presence and the money. I mean, there are testing in Bahrain. We have races, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. There's Aramco. There's all the money sponsors, all that wealth. I don't know. I mean, Liberty Media, it's a big corporate entity based in America. Like it or not, that's where all the new money is. Most of it. What do you think? I think the days of the Middle East being a pillar of Formula One are fast coming to an end.
Well, it's certainly not going to grow beyond what it is now, and certainly could shrink. Yeah, it is weird, right? I mean, the live golf thing was a 4-year experiment, and all they did was shed like $500 billion or whatever it was.
Right.
So that didn't go so well for them. Right. I'm not sure if it resolved any of their issues with all the protesters and such regarding their human sacrifices and
I think
whatever the hell goes on there. Yeah. I don't know. People seem frustrated by it, though.
For good or bad, I don't think that had anything to do. I think this all came down to they threw multi-generational wealth at a handful of golfers, but nothing else much came of it. I like the idea of 3 days of golf. 4 days of golf is silly, in my opinion. But in the teams, I like the idea of that. But I don't think any of this is going to stick. And in our thoughts about live golf taking over Formula One or doing a Formula One, because at the time there's only 10 teams, kind of sort of replicating Formula One, competing with it. I think that idea is gone as well.
I think it's not. Yeah, it's certainly not like they are. They seem to be almost the Lawrence Stroll type, right? They have exceptional wealth and they just want to put it somewhere. Aside from that, they don't seem interested or involved in any capacity, really. So it doesn't seem like these big corporations or, national funds that the Middle East nations have are really being used in a way that is constructive or developmental. It's just we have a lot of money and we can piddle around with it.
Right. We'll throw it around and see what happens. Here's another one. It's the end of Red Bull. Red Bull's got no wings. Red Bull has 2 teams because of Racing Bulls, because they got in when F1 had no money. But now there's a lot of lobbying going on, Zach Brown and McLaren in particular, to sort of force them to shed this team, to no longer allow teams to have ownership of 2 teams, which I think makes sense. I'm fine if Red Bull gets grandfathered in, because they did help resuscitate the sport. So they might get rid of that team. Someone could buy it. The team itself is getting torn apart. I mean, damn, Christian Horner, he may not have ever had the best power unit, but damn, he put together a badass team. I mean, Christian Horner put together such a good team that every other team now is trying to long-term lock in everybody from that team. So in case Christian Horner comes back, he can't get the gang back together. You know, I mean, I don't know. GP's getting picked off. Max keeps threatening to quit or go to another team. Newey's gone. So many good people are gone. I mean, what do we think of Red Bull?
Red Bull's in kind of a weird spot. I mean, I think it was pretty clear after like the Red Bull owner died several years ago that just sort of chaos ensued between sort of Bull Racing ownership group and, you know, the Red Bull corporate group. I think Christian Horner got caught up in a lot of that and ended up getting booted, fair or not. And then obviously, you know, like you said, everybody's just every high profile person at Red Bull Racing has basically been kicked out or lured off. So all it really does is leave Max there at this point in time. And honestly, if there's still this like overarching ownership power struggle, I can easily see Ford coming in and going, you know what? We don't like GM one-upping us. So we're just gonna basically buy out at least one of these teams. And I mean, they're already 50% there, basically.
That idea. I absolutely love that. And I did not think of that. That is a good idea. Ford, it's like, hey, we don't want just this Red Bull Power Unit partnership, and we're kind of the second partner. We want to own a team. That would be good. And Racing Bulls make so much money. I'm sorry, Red Bull makes so much money off of Red Bull F1 team. It's such great branding. But yeah, maybe Ford could come in and buy Racing Bulls. That would be awesome. I love that one. Here's another one, the end of the real fans. I mean, they're just howling. I hate all these new fans. I hate Drive to Survive. I hate the new regulations. I hate the owners. I hate the 11 teams. I hate all the America presence. And it's sort of like, I'm sorry. Your irrelevance grows by the day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then I guess you're not a fan of Formula One now. So
I mean,
go watch some old races. I don't fucking care.
Right. I don't know what to say to them. It's sort of like, look, I get if you've been doing it forever and there's suddenly a bunch of new people show up, you want to sort of show your cred. I get that. But I also think you want to have your voice heard. And it gets drowned out easy when there's so many new people there. And maybe just sort of howling about how it was better is the only way to get your voice heard. I feel for them. I've been watching the sport forever, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it's not all of the changes are always good changes, at least from a fan's perspective or from traditionalist perspective or what have you. But that's the direction that the sport is going, and you kind of have to accept some of that. And, you know, you can, I definitely understand some of the sentiment of like seeing all these new fans, people who are now interested in the sport all of a sudden and getting frustrated because they have no idea what's going on, or they don't treat the sport in the same way that you do. And so that can make you feel like annoyed by all these new people, right? But like, I think everybody who's a fan doesn't have to be a fan in the same way. And so we're getting a lot of new people who are interested in the sport. I think that's a good thing. I think, you know, yes, a lot of them can be annoying. So what?
Right. And no major sport, certainly in America, has changed more in my lifetime than college football. And it's never been bigger. There has never been more money. There has never been more fans. There's never been more access. It's radically different. You can argue better or worse, but it sort of doesn't matter what you argue. The fact is it's bigger, more profitable, more accessible, more popular than ever before. F1 is the same. You might wish it was back in the old days. Sometimes I do too, but it's sort of, it's unlikely to happen. And you may say, oh, well, it's just going to crash and burn. Maybe, you know, come see me in 2036, you know, maybe you're right. I don't know. All right, here's another thing. These are all linked. Aston Martin, Lawrence Stroll, Lance Stroll, Honda. Is this the end of this? I mean, Honda is being publicly embarrassed every race. Lawrence Stroll is, as you mentioned earlier, throwing his money around. And while the valuation of all of F1, thus his team, has gone up, he doesn't have much else to show for it. I mean, he was already rich. So Lawrence Stroll, goes, Lance Stroll goes. I mean, he's a daddy driver, which is another thing. Daddy drivers. I mean, the sport is so big now, so much money. America has gotten involved. Liberty Media has taken over. The professionalism of the sport has been elevated. And you may love the hustlers, you may love just flat out, but there's a level of corporatization and professionalization that's there that never was. That I think we're not going to see the daddy drivers anymore. It just doesn't make, there's no financial sense to it the way there used to be. Those are all, I think all could be gone soon.
I mean, definitely caddy drivers is a thing of the past. Lance Stroll is the only one left, really, on the grid, and I'm not sure that there's really ever gonna be more. I mean, it might be, you might get the Max style every now and again, where your dad was a racer, and so we'll sign you to the driver development program, and then, oh shit, you are really, really good. Okay, yeah, you can drive for our F1 team. But Lance Stroll, we all know the only real reason he has remained in Formula One is because his dad bought a team. He was on the outs at Williams, and sort of has remained here because of Lawrence Stroll.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I'm kind of convinced Fernando Alonso only stays there because he just sort of like, oh, look, I like having an absolutely perfect qualifying record against my teammate. And help give our European fans a sort of a sense of this. Another big American sport, Major League Baseball. I'm a fan of the Detroit Tigers. There's so much money in here. It just, the idea anymore of, well, we need a daddy driver, or we need a driver with so many sponsors that he brings to him, because otherwise we can't really function as a team. That idea is utterly foreign to major American sports because it's all money. So I'm a fan of the Detroit Tigers. They got a nice young rookie player, 21-year-old Kevin McGonigal. He's a solid player. He is not a superstar. He is a solid player. He had a good month. So they're like, oh, we better lock this kid in. So they locked it in for 8 years, $150 million. That's multi-generational wealth he earned in 1 month because he looks like he will be a long-term, solid contributor to the team. Not a Hall of Famer. The very notion of daddy drivers, there's just too much money. It's going away. Another thing going away. I mean, we predicted this when we started years ago. We said there's going to be 11 teams, then there's going to be 12 teams, and boom, there's 11 teams now. There's going to be 12 teams by 2030. Trust us. And that whole notion. I mean, look, Horner's looking to buy. Remember Otmar from Alpine? He got booted with the whole Oscar Piastri thing. Otmar's, how do you say his last name?
Safnauer.
Safnauer, yeah, he was like, right. He was the kid who ate all the chocolate in Willy Wonka. I mean, he's looking to buy, private equity's looking to buy. The whole idea, 10 teams, we're done with that.
First of all, it does not sound anything like Augustus Gloot, but you know what?
Right. Well, I knew it was something like that. He reminds me of the kid who ate all the chocolate in Willy Wonka. That's all I'm saying. I like chocolate. I'm not dissing the man.
But yeah, no, 10 teams was a blip, basically. There's going to be 11, there's going to be 12, maybe more, probably more. I don't see any reason for the grid not to look like the start of a NASCAR race in a decade's time.
That. Like 4 across, each hitting each other. I just don't.
Yeah, you don't think there's going to be like 40 drivers on the grid?
I think you could get 13. I think it's sort of like 30 in baseball and 30 in football. Whenever they go beyond that, it's like, no. You've stretched the frontier a little too far. We got to pull back. Here's another one. This is a good one. Because, I mean, I just think you just were spot on the whole notion of how the cars have changed, how the power units have changed, the software has changed, the money has changed, the sponsors changed, the tech has changed. And so, of course, the drivers must change. And you hit on this when you said, we used to have drivers that were like fighter pilots in the days of the right stuff. And now it's like, no, what we need are deeply connected, fully integrated engineers in a capsule. They're like astronauts. I mean, the days of Kimi Räikkönen, Ayrton Senna, that fighter pilot mentality. We love the notion of it's man, like That's why we all love Ayrton Senna, and not just because he died. It's so we romanticize it, but it's like man and machine going as absolutely flat out as possible, and then the man saying no, there could be more, and just doing it and doing it and doing it until one dies, like in the early days of Apollo when they did have fighter pilots. But I just think that's spot on, and I think of all the transformations that are happening in F1 right now, that's the one new fans and old don't yet grasp. It's the driver must change.
Or even really want, right? Like almost everything else, some people will gripe about it, some people will appreciate the change. I think the change to the way drivers drive is not going to come easily for a lot of people. And you want to see them going as fast as they can and then pushing it further. And you want to see those crazy, oftentimes reckless battles on track. I mean, that's fun. That's cool to see. But the sport itself has grown in, all the ways you mentioned. But the other thing is like the desire and increased sort of importance placed on safety mechanisms, how drivers are allowed to race in sort of safe conditions. That's all like pretty new. And so all of that kind of combines to sort of push out that old driver mentality, the way they drive and the way they sort of, can go out, have a 150 mile an hour crash and then get back in the car a day later and go again. That won't exist.
Right. Well, and the spending cap as well. It's like you did it, man. You went balls to the wall. You went flat out. But in that last turn, you crashed. You know what you did? You cost us $2 million. Everyone's going to lose their bonus. We don't have enough money to fix the engine, make the engine better this year. Now we got to use it on your nonsense. It's like that's not how a fighter pilot thinks, but that's what the new drivers will have to think.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of, I don't know, I just thought of the F1 movie where, what's his name? Joshua Pierce is trying to pass Max going around a turn at Silverstone or wherever it was. And he just lost it, right? And then everyone goes, it was Sonny's fault. It's like, how the fuck is that his fault? That doesn't matter though, right? It'll be like, no, this kid is not allowed back in the car. You can't get back in the car because you just lost the whole vehicle. That we're obviously a struggling team for reasons unbeknownst to anybody. We're a struggling team. We can't afford for you to crash a car. It's not possible. So, yeah, I mean, all of it means the drivers will have to change as much as we may not really want them to.
Switching to the soft compound, our favorite driver. And will our favorite driver be around in 2027? So, Max and Charles, we think they're signed long term, but they both have exit clauses. What do we think? Do we think, because look, this Mercedes engine looks so much better. McLaren seemed to be fixing some of their issues. So I think it could be Mercedes gets P1, George or Kimi. Then McLaren. I think Ferrari will struggle again. Charles is losing out. Do we think he'll sort of be with a different team next year? And do we think Max will be with a different team next year?
I think Charles stays a Ferrari. I mean, from what I see currently, I really don't see any better opportunities for him. If he was so desperate to leave, I mean, where do you go? Yeah. What do you do? You're not going to Mercedes. They got their guys locked in, probably, unless Kimi really, really just does terribly for the rest of the season.
McLaren, they've got theirs locked in.
And they've got theirs locked in.
Unless Oscar bails, possible, but
Where else are you going? You're looking at Red Bull right now and going, I want to go there? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then, Red Bull, Max, I don't know how much I believe of what he says and the rumors that he's going to leave, but everybody else is left. There's nobody else there at Red Bull with Max. I mean, GP is there until 27 or whatever it is, right? but
I think he's there through next year. I mean,
28. Yeah. So there's that at least, but no, I kind of don't see him leaving, but I think it's like 60-40. He stays kind of a thing.
I actually think for Charles, I think there's nowhere else for him to go, really. And look, I mean, there's Max, there's George in a Mercedes, there's Lando in a Mercedes. The window of him ever being a champion is, closing. But he could be a lifelong Ferrari guy. 20 years at Ferrari. Even if he never, as I've said before, he will never win a world champion. And I don't think he will win a driver's champion or constructors at Ferrari. But he could have 20 years at Ferrari. He'd be a legend. So we'll see. All right, let's just do contracts up. End of this year? It's like everybody practically. Lewis Hamilton, is he back next year?
Yes.
I think so too. I mean, at the opening, I was talking about old school F1. And it's funny because Lewis, for all of his contributions, he is just not old school. Lewis is as corporate as they come. He is not old school. And this sort of notion of the connected driver that's more like astronaut than fighter pilot, that's Lewis to a T. I think he's actually gonna thrive in these next few years. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm with you. What about George and Kimi? Their contracts are both up. Toto loves those short contracts. Do we think they'll both be back at Mercedes next year?
I do. I mean, it would be weird if they went with anybody else. I think Kimi this season so far has proven he's a good driver. So I'm working on the assumption that he continues to be a good driver. Because I think those two are solid. There's other guys maybe on the grid currently that you might want to sign instead, but if one of them wins a championship, he's getting re-signed immediately, and the other one probably is not far off, so why not keep him there?
Yeah. Okay, Williams, mention Albon. I'm going to step in because I actually think Albon could be out. Sainz surpassed him at the end of last year. Albon is a solid driver, but he's been around now a long time, and I'm not really noticing any leaps. He's a safe driver, and we said teams want that. But on the other hand, Williams and James Valser's under the gun. Private equity's like, hey man, what's going on? You don't seem to be getting any better. And I think they may just throw Albon under the bus, and he'll be out of F1.
Yeah, I sort of figure the same almost. I definitely can see signs continuing there. Albon sort of getting tossed to the wolves or going somewhere else. Maybe there's, another driver that gets let go, someone like, I don't know, someone at Alpine, Colapinto maybe, or like a Bortoleto or something like that. They're not pulling their weight, then maybe, you see Albon as sort of that safe pick. But I don't necessarily think he's staying at Williams.
Yeah, Hadjar, Red Bull. I think he's doing as well as we should expect. It's his second year, right? And he's alongside Max, and he's in a car that's not so great, and a team that's undergoing a lot of change.
So far, I think he will be back. I don't see any reason that he wouldn't be, so I'm going with that. Even though I think currently he is the lowest point scorer among any Red Bull driver.
Yeah, good point. And they keep floating like, oh, it would be great if somehow Yuki got back in. They're trying to sort of talk up Yuki while putting a little pressure on Hadjar. So yeah, we'll see. But that's a good point. Hulkenberg and Bortoleto.
Audi's a weird one. I think Hulkenberg stays. I don't think Bortoleto's there next year.
Interesting.
That's sort of a weird team right now. And they both seem to go through stretches where they're really good or really bad.
Yeah.
So Hulkenberg, to me, more experienced driver, seems like the safer pick if you're going to keep one of them.
Yeah, that's one where I wouldn't be surprised no matter what. I mean,
right.
Audi buys, a team that's been around for a long time, but sort of is working to completely overhaul it. And so if they keep them both, get rid of both, keep one or the other, I'm not sure. I would be surprised. Alonso and Stroll. Is Alonso back again? Is Stroll back again next year?
This has to be Alonso's last season. Just as much as I don't want it to be, I cannot see any reason that he comes back unless, he gets like a crazy offer from some other team, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, he's made so much money. He's been in sports so long, but yeah, with these cars, he's looking at like, hey, if a seat has to open up in a team with Mercedes power unit and preferably with Mercedes or McLaren, and I'm just not sure that's going to happen. Speaking of Mercedes power unit, no, Haas uses Ferrari, right? And Haas has Ocon and Behrman. Behrman, I think, is solid. I think Behrman has the makings of a star. I've said that before. He's nice. He's well spoken. He's, I think, a good long-term bet, but not not going to be one of the F1's greats. Ocon, I don't know why he's still in F1. he his presence in F1 to me is more inexplicable than Lance Stroll.
I mean, yeah, Lance Stroll is the only reason is because his father owns a team, so you can explain it away pretty easily there. Ocon is yeah, he's a goof, and I got no idea. I think he won't be back next year, but somehow he seems to find a way pretty regularly to sign with a team. So I don't know. I say he's not with Haas at the very least.
Right. Now, the forgotten bunch at Racing Bulls, Lawson and Lindblad.
They'll continue to fly under the radar, probably.
I think you're right. Lawson seems to have steadied himself.
Yeah, I think they'll be there. Both of them, probably another year at least.
Yeah. Who am I forgetting? Colapinto.
Nah, he's gone. Definitely. Probably halfway through the season.
Air segment. I like to talk about rumors and stories I read. I noticed that Whoop is a Ferrari sponsor, and Whoop is that company that sort of says, hey, give us access to your wrist or to your chest, and we'll strap something on, and we'll measure your heart, and then we'll use our various proprietary algorithms to tell you what's happening and what you should do. But they actually do have real data, heart rate changes. There was the Masters golf tournament was on TV a week or so ago, and they were showing Rory McIlroy's heart rate and how it was just so steady. But then, like, on the 18th hole went up really, just for a bit, just a huge spike and then back down. But I think we're missing out. I mean, I would love to see that data on F1 drivers, especially during the race. What's their heart rate? What's it jump? What's it look like? How does it change? How does it change in corners, on straights, when they're battling to overtake, when they go into a pit, when they crash?
Yeah, I mean, I think driver data and, vehicle telemetry is all very interesting. It's all very cool to see. Wish we got to see more of it. We rarely get to see anything from the vehicle side. I mean, all of that data is being recorded and viewed in real time by race engineers on the grid wall. I don't see any reason that we shouldn't be able to see some of that data too. And yeah, the drivers, I mean, it is miraculous, I think, what their bodies go through, but we don't really get to see exactly what happens,
Chief forces, yeah.
It would be interesting if you could see all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Like, yeah, the G's, but your heartbeat, even things like your
oxygen,
oxygen levels, your like potassium levels, all these different things, right? Like, wouldn't that just be fascinating to see?
Yeah, I would love it. Just a little sidebar data stream. I don't know why we're being denied this. Oh. So I just had a mad, brilliant idea. We're talking about the Masters. We're talking about golf. We talked about Live Golf. Live Golf was 3 days. Okay, it was like instead of the traditional 4-day tournament, it was 3 days. What if, Patrick, hear me out, because this is crazy, we made F1 3 days? Okay? Because right now we have a Friday kind of practice, maybe sprint, Saturday qualifying, a little this and a little that, Sunday race. What if it was cumulative, like golf? I mean, Rory McIlroy won the Masters. That's the big tournament here in the U.S. But he won it because he was the best over the course of 4 days. I think he kind of was blowing it on Friday and blowing it on Sunday or something like that. But he had 2 great days. I mean, this suddenly seems brilliant, Patrick. We ditch practice. We ditch the sprints. We ditch much of qualifying. I'm not sure how we do this. Okay. But it's a 3-day race. And it's cumulative.
How many, like, every day is a full race?
Every day is like Sunday. Yeah, so like a full race.
That sounds tough,
Yeah, I
but
know it
I
does.
don't hate it.
It seems like
Yeah,
we should be doing this.
because
Dang it. Indy does like 2 races a lot of times.
mhm.
They'll do a Saturday Sunday race.
Because it would be interesting. Yeah, you do a qualifying or some such. I'm not sure exactly how that would work. But then, you do your race, and what you do is you do it like golf. So you release them, and however big the gap is, the next driver goes from the previous race, right? Let's say George beats Kimmy
We won't be
by
causing some
7 seconds,
horrific accidents
by
though. Come
seven
here.
seconds,
Come.
and then, well, no, they come out of the pits,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay.
You're not just sitting there on the start grid.
Okay.
You release them from the pits, right? And so George beats Kimmy by 7 seconds, and then Lando is 38 seconds behind. Well, then George is out. He's going. Kimmy's 7 seconds later, and then Lando's got to wait, 38 seconds to get going.
Maybe. I like the
That's
big
cumulative
concept,
for
right?
you.
I do like, but I like the big concept of, I mean, for some reason I'm not hating this idea, which I'm like, well, then why haven't we done this already? Because this seems obvious. But across the line, that is our segment where we predict the top 5 for the next race. The next race is in Miami. Still about a week or so to go. Man, Miami. Europe does not understand the amount of new money that flows through Miami. New money in Miami is obscene by American standards. So I'm sure the Europeans are just aghast if they were to ever go there. But I digress. So across the line, that's where we predict our top 5 for the next race. The next race is in Miami, but we already put our picks in. So I'm not exactly sure what we do for this segment. I did in our last episode, people say, oh, look, F1 cozying up to Hollywood, Drive to Survive, this Apple movie with Brad Pitt. And we were like, no, you got it backwards. Hollywood is cozying up to They want F1. F1 is where the money and the glory is. That's where you network. That's where you travel around the world. That's where the cameras are. That's where the action is. Boom. What happens like a week after we put out that show? Hollywood says, oh, we're going to do another one of those Ocean's 11 movies, only we're going to put it at the Monaco Grand Prix in the 60s, which could be cool. But I just thought that was pretty good. We sort of predicted that something. We sort of had a nice insight, and boom, all of a sudden, Hollywood kind of races to give their pitch about why they're jumping on the F1 bandwagon. Anyway, how about we do this? Some favorite F1 movies, racing movies, like F1 the movie. I would put that as my number one.
Number
Speed
one,
Racer.
huh?
I think I would. I'd put Speed Racer 2. Speed Racer is woefully underappreciated.
Speed Racer was pretty great.
Yeah. Now,
Pretty
I
great.
confess I've not seen Ford versus Ferrari. I've actually not seen Days of Thunder. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. I'll say Grand Prix. I have the Criterion channel. I watch movies, and I did like that. Rush, but I thought Rush was so. I'm blanking on some racing movies. So F1, I know. Speed Racer, Grand Prix. Wait, not Bullet. What the hell? There was a Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen, Le Mans. That's probably one of mine for sure.
Go. Yes. Okay.
Mostly because there's like no fucking talking in it whatsoever. There's no dialogue at all. It's just a guy driving around.
Going around being how do you be as cool as Steve McQueen? I mean, it's just like, damn, dang. Okay. What do you have, Patrick, for some favorite
Definitely Le Mans for sure. I feel like I might have to break some potentially arbitrary rules that you haven't described yet, but we'll get there. So yeah, that's a good one. I do like Rush. I enjoyed the story. Some of the racing scenes are good, and it's based on peak F1 for a lot of people. So
it was fun.
It was pretty cool.
I'm a bit of a movie snob, and I thought it was good, just sort of by the book movie.
I have seen Ford versus Ferrari, and I did enjoy it.
I heard it was good.
And I mean, it's based on the reason why and how my favorite car of all time got created, the Ford GT.
Nice. That is still a beautiful car.
Then, yeah, here's where I break some rules, I think. I'm going with The Fast and the Furious, the original,
I do like Fast and the Furious.
because it's good and it's good unironically. Okay. So everybody should, at least the first three you should watch.
Well, so Fast and the Furious, the first one, because they always have weird names.
The Fast and the Furious is the
Right.
first
So then
one.
the one when Dom was there and they were in Miami, right?
Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah.
That's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Tokyo Drift is a good
Tokyo
movie.
Drift is a third one. Is great. Yeah.
Those are good. Yeah.
Those are
no,
good.
I'm with you on all of those.
So I like those. And then pretty sure you won't have any idea what this is. And it's not a movie. It's a series. It's called Initial D.
No, I don't know that.
It's an anime basically about, it's just a kid. He works at his dad's tofu shop in Japan, and he's got to deliver tofu up and down this mountain, and he learns how to drift his AE86 to go down the mountain as fast as he can, and then he just starts racing people.
Oh, nice.
And
What's this called?
Initial D.
All right.
It's great. It's a great show. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Maybe I before we started recording this, I'm watching a movie from Japan called Cloud. It's like a couple years old. Nothing to do with racing. It's basically a guy reselling goods, which I know sounds boring, but it's actually a very good movie. But that reminded me with this conversation, what's the name of the movie? I watched this cool racing movie out of Japan from the early 70s. It was ridiculous, but it was good. Dang it, I forget the name of it. I'll have to do that and add it to show notes or something. Okay. Any crazy predictions, Patrick?
Well, my crazy prediction is, I don't think it's that crazy, and it's in theme with this show, about how current F1 is no more. I'm going to say within a decade, there will be no more pit crews. Will all be done by robots, automated robots. There will be mechanics, because, robots can't be changing everything, during a weekend if there's anything that goes wrong. But pit crews, easy. I mean, I shouldn't say easy. What pit crews actually have to do is pretty incredible. But the functions are pretty straightforward for, a robot, AI, whatever, to do.
That's a great one. I never thought of that, and I think that's a great one. I grew up here in the U.S. as a baseball fan. This year, we're now using computer tech, sims, visualization sensors to sort of call balls and strikes, something I never would have thought Major League Baseball, the most traditional really of all the sports. I never thought they would do that. So by 2036, robotic pit crews. That's awesome. What a great one. I don't have a great one. And mine is basically South Korea's jonesing to get an F1 race again. The thinking maybe by 2028. So mine is they'll do a joint announcement when this happens of F1 race returns to South Korea, and Hyundai will be a new team in Formula One. All right. I want to thank you all for listening to everybody's most beloved father and son F1 podcast. It is much appreciated. And we are lights out.
See ya. Thanks for listening.